I never should have clicked on that link. That's what I keep telling myself as I sit here in the dark, listening to the scratching at my bedroom door. It's been 3 days since I found that website, and I don't think I'll survive another night.
Hey, anybody heard of this? Some website called the Midnight Exchange? Someone posted it in a thread about internet urban legends.
That's how it started. A simple message I sent to my online gaming group. I was bored that night, scrolling through Reddit threads about creepy internet phenomena, when I found a comment buried deep in a discussion. The link was just sitting there. No explanation, no warnings, just a simple URL that looked harmless enough.
Nope, never heard of it. What is it?
Not sure yet, the page is just loading, it's kind of slow.
The site took almost a full minute to load, which seemed strange for such a simple-looking page. When it finally appeared, it was just black text on a white background. No images, no fancy design. Just a heading that read, "The Midnight Exchange," and a simple form below it.
It says it's some kind of trading site. Exchange what you have for what you desire. It's just a text box where you type what you want and what you're willing to trade for it.
Sounds like a scam. Some put in any personal info.
I'm not stupid, I'm just curious. People in the thread were freaking out about it.
I should have listened to her. But curiosity got the better of me. I stared at that empty text box for a while, wondering what to type. Finally, I decided to test it with something simple.
I'm gonna try it, let's see. I want to know the truth about this website. I'll trade a funny story.
I hit submit, not expecting anything to happen. The page refreshed, and for a moment I thought it had crashed. Then, new text appeared.
Guys, it responded. It says, trade accepted. Check your email in exactly 1 hour.
That's weird. What email did you give it?
That's the thing, I didn't. I never entered my email address.
That was the first red flag. I hadn't provided any contact information, yet somehow this website knew how to reach me. I tried to brush it off, thinking maybe it had accessed my browser data or something. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right.
That's creepy. I'd delete whatever they send you without opening it.
Yeah, probably will. I'll let you know if anything happens.
But I didn't delete it. When the email arrived exactly 1 hour later, my curiosity won out. The subject line was empty, and the sender was listed as exchange at midnight. The body of the email contained only a short paragraph.
It just says the Midnight Exchange exists in the space between desires and sacrifices. Every trade must be balanced. You offered too little, your debt is now marked. To clear it, make another trade before midnight tomorrow. This is not optional.
That's just trying to scare you into going back to the site. Probably some viral marketing thing.
Yeah, you're right, I'm going to ignore it.
I tried to ignore it, I really did. But that night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt like someone was watching me. Around 3 a.m., I heard a scratching sound at my bedroom window. When I got up to check, there was nothing there, but the window was ice cold to the touch, even though it was summer. The next day, I noticed small things out of place in my apartment. My coffee mug on the wrong shelf, my shoes arranged neatly instead of kicked off by the door where I'd left them. My computer turned on when I was sure I'd shut it down. And every time I entered a room, it felt like someone had just left it.
Guys, weird stuff is happening at my place. I think someone's been in my apartment.
Did you call the police?
No, nothing's missing, just things moved around and I keep hearing scratching noises at night.
Maybe it's mice? Or you're just being paranoid because of that stupid website.
I wanted to believe it was just paranoia, but that night, the scratching got louder. It moved from the window to the walls, like something was inside them, moving around my apartment. I tried to record it, but when I played back the audio, there was nothing but static. The next morning, I was exhausted and scared. The deadline was approaching, midnight. I decided to make another trade, just to see if it would stop the strange occurrences. I went back to the website.
Okay, I'm gonna try one more trade. I want the noises in my apartment to stop. I'll trade a day of my time.
The response was immediate this time.
It says, trade accepted, the noises will stop. Your day will be collected tomorrow.
I didn't know what collecting a day meant, but I was desperate enough to accept almost anything. That night, the scratching stopped. I slept soundly for the first time in 2 days. When I woke up the next morning, I felt relieved until I checked my phone.
Guys, something's wrong. My phone says it's Thursday, but yesterday was Tuesday. I've lost a day. Everyone is telling me it's Thursday, but I have no memory of Wednesday at all.
Are you serious? Maybe you just lost track of time because you haven't been sleeping well.
No, it's not that. I checked my security camera footage. There's a full day of me moving around my apartment, eating, working on my computer, but I have absolutely no memory of any of it. It's like someone else was controlling my body.
The footage was the most disturbing thing I'd ever seen. It was clearly me in the videos, but my movements were slightly off, too stiff, too deliberate, and occasionally I would stop whatever I was doing and stare directly at the camera with a blank expression for several minutes before resuming my activities. That's when I realized what the trade meant. The midnight exchange had taken a day of my life. Not just the time, but my autonomy, my consciousness. Something else had been in control of my body for 24 hours, and I had no idea what it had done.
I'm done with this. I'm never going back to that website again.
But that night, I received another email.
No. It says your trade was insufficient. The debt has grown. Make a proper offering before midnight or collection will begin.
This is getting out of hand. Maybe you should talk to someone about this, a therapist, or...
I'm not crazy. This is really happening.
I knew she didn't believe me. No one would. How could I explain that a website had somehow taken over my body for a day? That something was in my apartment, scratching at my walls. I was on my own. As midnight approached, the scratching returned, but it was different now, louder, more insistent, and coming from inside my closet. I sat on my bed, staring at the closet door, watching as it rattled slightly with each scratch. With trembling hands, I opened my laptop and returned to the midnight exchange one last time.
I want to be free of this debt. I'll trade. What can I trade? What do you want from me?
The text box cleared itself, and new words appeared.
It says trade accepted. We want to experience. Open the closet door.
My blood ran cold. Whatever was scratching in my closet, the website knew about it. They were connected somehow. I looked at the time. 11:58 p.m. Almost midnight. With 2 minutes left, I made a decision. I stood up and walked slowly to the closet door. The scratching stopped as I approached. My hand hovered over the doorknob. I could feel cold air seeping out from under the door.
This is insane. There's nothing in my closet. There can't be.
I turned the knob and pulled the door open. At first, I saw nothing unusual, just my clothes hanging neatly. Then, I noticed the back wall of the closet, or rather, the lack of one. Where there should have been a solid wall, there was now a dark opening like a tunnel stretching back impossibly far, and standing just inside that darkness was a figure. It looked almost human, but wrong in ways I couldn't immediately identify. Its proportions were slightly off, its skin too smooth, its eyes too large and entirely black. It smiled at me, revealing teeth that were perfectly white and identical, like plastic.
Thank you for the trade. We've been waiting to come through.
Its voice didn't sound like it was coming from the figure, but rather from all around me, as if the air itself was speaking. I tried to close the door, but my body wouldn't respond. I was frozen in place.
Your world is so vivid, so full of sensation. We've been watching through the exchange for so long, trading small experiences, collecting moments. But now we can experience everything directly.
The figure took a step forward, out of the closet and into my room. As it moved, its form seemed to ripple and adjust, becoming more human-like with each step. After a moment, I realized with horror that it was adjusting to look more like me.
The debt is paid, but the exchange continues. Others will click, others will trade, and more of us will come through.
It reached out and touched my face with cold fingers. I felt a pulling sensation, as if something essential was being drawn out of me. My vision began to darken around the edges.
Don't worry, we won't waste your life. We'll use your body well, experience everything, and when we're done, we'll find another trade.
The last thing I remember clearly is the figure leaning in close, its face now a perfect mirror of my own, and whispering in my ear.
Your friends are next. You already sent them the link, remember?
I'm writing this now as a warning. I don't know how much time I have left before it takes complete control. I can feel it inside me, learning how I think, how I move, how I speak. It lets me have moments of clarity. I think because it enjoys my fear. The scratching at my bedroom door has gotten louder. There are more of them now. I can hear them whispering to each other, planning. The figure that looks like me sits in the corner of the room, watching me type with an amused expression. If you ever see a link to the Midnight Exchange, don't click it. Don't trade. Don't open the door when the scratching starts. They're waiting for an invitation, and once they have it, they'll never leave.
Time's up. They're ready for the next phase.
It's standing behind me now, its hand on my shoulder. The door is opening. I can see more of them in the hallway, each one different, each one wrong in its own unique way. They're coming in. This is my last moment of control. Please, if you're reading this, spread the warning. The Midnight Exchange is real, and it's not trading things. It's trading people. It's trading worlds. And our world is losing.
Hey, anybody heard of this? Some website called the Midnight Exchange? Someone posted it in a thread about internet urban legends. You should check it out.
I never should have played the window game. That's what they call it in my neighborhood. A stupid ritual where you stare out your window at exactly 3:33 a.m. for 3 minutes straight. They say if you do it right, something stares back. I didn't believe it until last Tuesday, when I saw her for the first time. Now she won't leave.
Dude, you actually saw something? No way.
My friend didn't believe me when I told him. I wasn't sure I believed it myself. But that night, I didn't go to the window. I stayed in bed, covers pulled up to my chin like a child afraid of the boogeyman. At exactly 3:33 a.m., I heard a soft tapping on my window. 3 gentle knocks, evenly spaced.
Maybe you should try talking to her.
It was the worst advice he could have given me, but I was desperate. That night I stood at the window again. 3:33 a.m. The street lamp remained dark, but I could see her clearly now, as if she generated her own faint light. She was closer to the building this time, standing in the small patch of grass between the parking lot and my apartment complex.
Let me in.
Her voice was wrong. It sounded like multiple voices layered on top of each other. A child, a woman, an old man, all speaking in unison.
I've been waiting. Let me in. The game isn't over.
I slammed the window shut and ran to my bedroom, locking the door behind me. I didn't look outside again for 2 days.
You can crash here, but you know this sounds crazy, right?
I stayed with him for 2 nights. No tapping, no strange text messages. I began to think maybe it was over, that whatever connection had been established by the window game had been broken by my absence.
Dude, there's someone outside. She's just standing there, looking up at the window.
I knew without looking, but my friend pulled back the curtain anyway.
What the hell? Do you know her?
Before I could answer, his phone chimed. A text message from an unknown number.
It says, "The game follows you. Let me in."
That's when I realized my mistake. The rules of the window game never specified that it had to be your window, just a window. I had brought this thing to my friend's home.
I'm calling the cops.
But when the police arrived 20 minutes later, they found nothing. No woman in a nightgown. No evidence anyone had been there at all. They took a report, but left quickly, clearly thinking we were drunk or high.
They can't see me. Only players can see me.
I went back to my apartment the next day. I didn't know what else to do. If this thing could follow me to my friend's place, nowhere was safe. At least in my own home, I wouldn't be putting anyone else at risk. Why did you start this game?
I didn't start it. You did. All players must finish the game.
What do you want?
To come inside. That's how the game ends. One of us must invite the other in.
I'm not inviting you in.
Then I'll invite you out.
She raised her arm, pointing one long pale finger at me. That's when I noticed her fingernails, black and curved like claws. She began to climb the wall.
The game must end. Let me in or come out. Choose.
I ran to my bedroom and barricaded the door with my dresser. I could hear tapping on every window in the apartment, growing louder and more frantic. The lights began to flicker, then went out completely.
Let me in, the game is almost over.
I know now what happens when the game ends. I've seen it in my dreams every night. Players don't win the window game, they become it. That woman, she was a player once too. And now my shadow is becoming the next one.
Time's up, I'm coming in.
The window shatters, and as the glass falls, I see my reflection in each broken piece. My face peeling away, my eyes multiplying, my mouth stretching into a smile that's not my own.